Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à Learn French by Suchita. Je m'appelle Suchita, votre enseignante de la langue française, and in this video, I am going to teach you the negation, la négation. Before we begin with this video, I would like to introduce you to my website www.learnfrenchbysuchita.com, where you will find recorded courses for all your French language needs. We have courses for DELF A1, DELF A2, DELF B1, TEF TCF recorded course, French phonetics as well. We have special courses for our school students ranging from grade 5 to grade 8. We also have courses for university students who are enrolled in certificate course or diploma course in Delhi University. And finally, we also have courses for our school students who are aiming to appear for their DELF Preem or DELF Junior examinations. So hurry up and check it out. So without any further ado, let's get into the video, and I'm going to divide this series into 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to teach you the most basic negation. How do you say not in French? And in the second and the third part of the series, I'm going to teach you the different other types of negations. For example, how do you say nowhere, nothing, never, how do you say not yet, no more in French. So in case you like the video, please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and mention your comments in the comment section below. And in case you're not following me on my Instagram page, which is Learn French by Suchita, go and follow me over there as well. So now let's just get started. And since this is the first part of our series, I am going to teach you the most basic negation. How do you say not in French? And for that, I'll take you to my screen. So I hope all of you can see my screen now. The topic that I'm going to teach you is la négation. La négation, which means the negation. How do you make the negative sentences? For example, in English, if I say, I am Indian, that's a positive sentence. How do I make the negative of it? I'll say, I am not Indian. So by putting not, you make it negative. I am Indian, I am not Indian. So we are going to study the same thing in French. So in order to make the sentence negative in French, we always need to search for the verb in the sentence. Where is our verb? Before the verb, we always put ne in order to make it negative. And after the verb, we'll put pas in order to make it negative. So the format goes like this. You put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. Always search for the verb in the sentence, put ne before it and pas after it. For example, if I say, je suis indienne. Je suis indienne. I've taken a basic sentence, which is, je suis indienne. Now, where is the verb over here? The verb is suis, which is actually the verb être, which is the verb être. Je suis indienne. If you do not know what is the verb être and how do you conjugate it, I'm going to drop the link in the card above. You can watch that video and then come back here again. So the sentence is je suis indienne. Now, I want to make it negative. So what do I have to do? I have to search for the verb, which is suis. Then put ne before the verb and pas after the verb, which will make it I am not Indian. Je ne suis pas indienne. Now, it looks something like this. You have to search for the verb, which is suis, put ne before the verb and pas after the verb, which will make it negative. Je suis indienne. I am Indian. Je ne suis pas indienne. I am not Indian. Let's look at our second example, which is il parle français. Il parle français, which means he speaks French. Now, the verb over here is parler. The verb is parle. So now, in order to make it negative, you'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. So your sentence will look like, il ne parle pas français. He speaks French. He doesn't speak French. Il parle français. Il ne parle pas français. So the negative sentence is written on your screen. Il ne parle pas français. He doesn't speak French. So it's very, very simple. You just need to search the verb, put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. Now, there is another rule that ne changes into an apostrophe si vous avez une voyelle après ça. That means ne changes into an apostrophe if you have a vowel after it. Voyelle means vowel. Now, on your screen, you're seeing an example written. Il aime la langue française. Il aime la langue française. He likes French language.
Now the verb over here is aime. It's actually the verb aimer. It's an ER verb. By the way, if you do not know what are ER verbs and how do you conjugate them, I'm going to drop the link in the card above. You can watch that video and then come back here again. So let's come back to our example, which is il aime la langue française. So the verb that we have is the verb aimer. Il aime. Now, can you see that our verb begins with a vowel A? Okay. Now, of course, we have to put ne before the verb and pas after the verb, as I just explained you. But since our verb is beginning with a vowel, what will happen? Ne will change into an apostrophe. And your sentence will look like il n'aime pas la langue française. Il n'aime pas. If you see over here that I have changed ne into an apostrophe. Il n'aime pas la langue française. He likes French language. He doesn't like French language. Okay, so now the next example which is reflecting on your screen is il étudie à l'université. Il étudie à l'université. So the verb over here is again an ER verb which is étudier. Étudier, which means to study. Il étudie à l'université. He studies in the university. So again, you have to put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since your verb is beginning with a vowel E, so that's why ne will change into an apostrophe. And the sentence will look like il n'étudie pas à l'université. Il n'étudie pas. So that means he studies in the university. He doesn't study in the university. Put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since étudier was beginning with the vowel E, ne changed into an apostrophe. And it actually becomes one word, n'étudie. Il n'étudie pas à l'université. Now, there is a new rule in front of you. Dans les phrases négatives, on change les articles indéfinis et les articles partitifs au de. Now, before I explain you this rule, I would like to tell you that there are 4 articles in French. Les articles indéfinis, which means the indefinite articles. Les articles définis, which are the definite articles. Les articles contractés, which are the contracted articles. And les articles partitifs, which means the partitive articles. Now, if you do not know what are these articles, I'm going to mention the link of all these videos in the description box below. You can watch these videos and then come back here again. Now, what does it mean? Out of these 4 articles, in the negative sentences, we change our first article and the 4th article. That means I told you we have indefinite article, we have definite article, we have contracted, and we have partitive articles. So we change the first and the 4th article. That means we change the indefinite articles. That means un, une, des, and the partitive articles, which are du, de la, de l'apostrophe, and des, into de. Okay. So we change our indefinite articles and the partitive articles into de. I'll explain this to you in detail through some examples. Now, in front of you, you are seeing an example which is j'ai une idée. J'ai une idée, which means I have an idea. Now, in order to make it negative, of course, you will search for the verb in the sentence. The verb is a, which is actually the verb avoir. A. So you will put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. Since our verb is beginning with a vowel A, so ne will change into an apostrophe and you'll put pas after the verb. So instead of j'ai, I'll write je n'ai pas. Je n'ai pas. And after that, can you see that there is an indefinite article which is une. Une. So now as per the rule, if you want to make the sentence negative, then your indefinite article will change into the or the apostrophe. So your sentence will look something like this. J'ai une idée. I have an idea. And the negative sentence would be je n'ai pas d'idée. Je n'ai pas d'idée. So in this case, actually, de changed into the apostrophe because there was a vowel after that. So j'ai une idée. I have an idea. Je n'ai pas d'idée. I do not have any idea. I tell you the reason that why the indefinite articles and the partitive articles, they change into the in the negative sentences, because in the positive sentences, they reflect a quantity. For example, I have an idea. An is actually a quantity. Now, when you make it negative, the quantity finishes. I have an idea. I do not have any idea. So the quantity finishes. That's why your articles which reflect the quantity, they change into de or d apostrophe. Okay, so the next example reflecting on your screen is vous avez des crayons. Vous avez des crayons. Now the verb over here is the verb avez, which is again the verb avoir. Now, in order to make it negative, you'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since your verb begins with a vowel a, ne will change into n apostrophe. So vous avez will become vous n'avez pas. Vous n'avez pas. And now, after that, what you have is the indefinite article, which is they. In order to make it negative, of course, this they will change into de. And your sentence will look like, vous avez des crayons? You have some pencils. And then the negative sentence would be, vous n'avez pas de crayons. Vous n'avez pas de crayons. That means you do not have any pencils. Vous avez des crayons? Vous n'avez pas de crayons. Okay, now let's take the third example wherein I have used a partitive article. Vous mangez du pain. Vous mangez du pain. That means you eat some bread. Now over here, du is your partitive article. Du is your partitive article. So vous mangez du pain. The verb is manger, to eat. You'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. So vous mangez and the negative will become vous ne mangez pas. Vous ne mangez pas. Now, du is your partitive article. It will change into de because you're making the sentence negative. You eat some bread. You do not eat any bread. Vous mangez du pain. Vous ne mangez pas de pain. De. So your partitive article du changed into de. Vous ne mangez pas de pain. You do not eat any bread. Now let's take the fourth example. J'aime le jus d'orange. J'aime le jus d'orange, which is I like orange juice. Now in this sentence, of course, the verb is aime, which is the verb aimer, to like. You'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since our verb aime is beginning with the vowel a, so ne will change into n apostrophe. J'aime and the negative will become je n'aime pas. After that, what you have is the definite article le. Now, I told you that your indefinite and the partitive articles, they change into the in the negative sentences. But the contracted articles and the definite articles, they remain same. There won't be any change there. So, j'aime le jus d'orange, which is actually your definite article le. While making the sentence negative, this article will not change. So your final sentence will look like, je n'aime pas le jus d'orange. So le will remain le. Now let's take the next example, which is je vais au supermarché. Je vais au supermarché. Now the verb over here is the verb aller. Aller. Je vais. Je vais is actually the conjugation of the verb aller. Now, in order to make it negative, of course, you'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. So, je vais, I go. I don't go, je ne vais pas. Je ne vais pas. Now, after that, what we have is actually the contracted article. O is the contracted article. So the definite and the contracted articles do not change even in the negation. I repeat, I have mentioned the links of all the videos wherein I have explained all these articles in the description box below. So, je vais au supermarché. I go to the supermarket. The negative would look like, je ne vais pas au supermarché. Je ne vais pas au supermarché. So your contracted article O did not change into the. It will remain same. Definite and the contracted articles do not change in the negative sentences. Now, the next thing. On your screen, you're seeing il y a. Il y a. What do you mean by il y a? Il y a means there is or there are. Now, what is the negation of il y a? It is il n'y a pas. You'll have to remember this. The negation of il y a is il n'y a pas. By the way, y is also a vowel. That's why ne changed into n apostrophe. Il y a, il n'y a pas. There is, there are, which is il y a, and the negation is there is not or there are not. Il y a, il n'y a pas. Okay, now on your screen, you're seeing an example with il y a. Il y a des étudiants dans la classe. Il y a des étudiants dans la classe. There are some students in the class. Now, the negation I told you of il y a is il n'y a pas. Il y a, there are or there is. Il n'y a pas, there is not or there are not. Now, after that, what you're seeing is an indefinite article, which is they. As per the rule, if you make it negative, they will change into the or d apostrophe. In this case, it will change into d apostrophe because after that, étudiant begins with a vowel. So what will be your final sentence? Your final sentence will look like il n'y a pas. The negation of il y a is il n'y a pas. D'étudiants. They will change into de. D apostrophe. Il n'y a pas d'étudiants dans la classe. There are some students in the class. There aren't any students in the class. Il y a des étudiants dans la classe. Il n'y a pas d'étudiants dans la classe. Now, the last thing, there is an exception in negation. If you have the verb être in your sentence, in that case, out of all the 4 articles which I just told you, indefinite articles, definite articles, contracted articles, and partitive articles, no article changes in case of the verb être. Now, on your screen, you're seeing an example, c'est un stylo. C'est un stylo, which is this is a pen. Now, if you see, this is the verb. A is the verb, which is actually the verb être. C'est un stylo. Now, in order to make it negative, of course, you'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since your verb begins with e, that means it begins with a vowel. So ne will change into n apostrophe. So c'est will become ce n'est pas. Now, as per the rule, this is your indefinite article. After the verb, what you have is an indefinite article, un. Now, as per the rule, it should have changed into de. But I told you, if you have the verb être in your sentence, then no article will change. So, c'est un stylo, this is a pen. If your sentence is negative, it will be ce n'est pas un stylo. Ce n'est pas un stylo. This is a pen, this is not a pen. I repeat, if you have the verb être in your sentence, then even if you have indefinite or partitive articles in your sentences, those articles will not change. C'est un stylo, ce n'est pas un stylo. Now, on your screen, you're seeing the next example, which is Juliette est une actrice indienne. Juliette is an Indian actress. So here what you have is the verb être again. You'll put ne before the verb and pas after the verb. But since your verb is beginning with a vowel, ne will change into n apostrophe. So Juliette est, Juliette n'est pas. Okay. Now, after that, what you have is an indefinite article. But since it is the verb être, your indefinite article will not change. So that means your final sentence will look like Juliette n'est pas une actrice indienne. Ne and pas before and after the verb, and une will not change into the because it is the verb être. So Juliette is an Indian actress. Juliette is not an Indian actress. Now on your screen, you're seeing some of the sentences, which are all of them the positive sentences. Now your task is that you have to make the sentences negative using all the rules which I've just taught you in the video. I'm going to mention the correct answers of all these sentences in the description box below. Now, first you have to do them on your own. And after that, in order to check your answers, you can check the answers from the description box below. And if you still have any queries or any doubts, you can mention in the comment section below. I would be happy to help you. If you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for daily updates and reminders, do not forget to hit the bell icon. And I'll see you soon with the second part of this series. Till then, au revoir, à bientôt et bisous bisous.